What's going on, guys? Figured I'd give you a quick update. Been working on the 2110 here. I got our spacers under there, put a cylinder on there, and I put the cylinder on every hole. We're 5 thousandths more deck on the side that's not machined down than the other side. I've got my shims here to correct that. The other way would be to mill the case. We're not going to go through that because it's $250 to have that done. So we'll use the spacers. I got a 300 spacer under the barrel. I had 40 thousandths deck with no spacer. It's got a 300 thousandths spacer. 60 thousandths copper head gasket. Gives a compression ratio of 7.28 to 1. So should be somewhere decent. I wanted it a little lower than that. I might semi-hemi cut the heads, make the combustion chambers a little bit bigger to get it into the 6s. But compression ratio came out pretty close to where I wanted. I was talking to Scooter and he was thinking that it'd be 100 out of the hole and that I was going to have to get bigger spacers. But luckily everything worked out pretty good. So got the crank in here, got all the bearings on the crank, everything spins over nice, got everything clearance now. So I think that the next step, now that we've calculated our compression ratio and everything's pretty decent, is to finish our heads up. I have to get some springs for my heads. I tried to use some single Chevy springs to get away from machining the bosses, but I'm gonna have to machine the bosses. This motor's got a 315 Berg in it, so it's 615 lift. It's a pretty big cam. So yeah, we'll get all that straightened out. I got the cam all cleaned up. It's all polished and ready to go in there. We got it all clearanced. So basically we need some valve springs and we can start assembling this. I have to get a tube to weld onto the pickup. We're going to put a oil sump on here, extra 3 quarts of oil, 3-quart sump, and give it a little more oil capacity. Been talking to Scooter a lot about heat lately, heat in the motors. And he's got a 1776 in his car, and right now he's dealing with a heat issue. He's running 350 degree cylinder head temperature. And the old 1600 over here runs under 200 on the cylinder head temperature. So 350 is what he's seeing. We were talking about different things that make motors run hot, and Scooter drives this car to a lot of the races that we go to. And the last race we went to, or race before this, it was still sort of cool out. And of course he's got the cylinder head temperature and the oil temperature gauge on his car. And they were trying to run the heater on the way home on the interstate, and it was 50 degrees on the head temperature sensor if they turned the heater on. So that tells you that the fan is barely efficient enough to cool the engine at best. When you turn the heater on and your cylinder head temperature goes up 50 degrees, it's sort of concerning. So they take blankets now and don't use the heater. The heater's diverting the air away from the fan housing that would be killing or cooling the cylinder heads into the heater boxes, and doesn't have enough air to cool the motor with the heater on. So the fan is just on the edge of not being enough. You know, we were talking about oil coolers and different things to make the motor run cooler, and Scooter put some DCNFs on his car. He doesn't have K-Rons anymore. The DCNFs he's had a jetting challenge with. He had as big as a 150 main jet in DCNFs, and he's down to a 125 now. And when he had the 150s in there, the motor ran hotter than with the 125s. So I guess that's a myth, you know, if you make the motor fat, that the fuel will cool the engine. Not always necessarily the truth. According to Scooter, you know, when he went from the 150s to the 125s, it ran cooler. So he's battling that, and I'm trying to get little tips from him, you know, so I can pass them on to Greg, because Greg has the temperature issue. Scooter's running almost 40 degrees of timing, though, with no compression. So timing's another thing that you can adjust to take the heat out. Little story that happened to me the other day. I was with the girls, and we stopped at a gas station. And usually when you stop at a gas station in the Beetle, you know, everybody wants to know what year it is, and you know, they had one, and you get to talk to people when you drive this car. And I started talking to this guy, and I pushed the 87 octane button by accident, and we were driving over to Daytona to get a burger, And I made that trip several times now, you know, since I put the gauges in the car, and I know exactly where the gauge runs as far as cylinder head temperature. The unleaded regular fuel was worth 25 degrees on the cylinder head temperature. Just that one little accident of putting the cheap fuel in the car. So I went back to the 93 and my temperature went right back down. So I thought I'd share that too. That's another thing. The fuel can really cause some heat in the motor for sure. So yeah, that's what's going on. We got these pistons almost done. I got 4 left to do. There's 4 there, and then there's 4 there not polished. So I got to finish these tonight. I got Ronnie coming over tomorrow. Ronnie and Johnny are stopping by. They're gonna drop some parts off, big block parts. It's for the whole Nova, the big block project here. We got the Callie's crank, and apparently Ronnie came across some stuff. He's a wheeler dealer with parts, mainly Ford parts, but he found a Ford guy that wanted some Ford parts, and he had some Chevrolet stuff. So he got me a brand new engine that blew up on the first pass, kicked a rod out of it, and you know, everything else is supposed to be new in the motor. I think it's got an aluminum timing cover, maybe some roller rockers, maybe some cylinder heads, maybe a camshaft and lifters. So an oil pan from what I understand. So we'll get a good pan and a good pump with a good pickup on it. We'll see what we get tomorrow. So I'll turn the camera on for that and let you guys see the new parts. Got a little tank here to fix. I don't know exactly what this is off. It just got dropped off by Andrea. It's got a dent here and a dent here, and she wanted me to suction cup that out. I don't think that's happened. What I might do is fill this up with water and freeze it. I haven't seen anybody do that on the tubes yet. You know, you fill it up with water, put it in the deep freeze, and when the water freezes, it'll pop the dent out. So I've done that before and had it work. We might try that on that one to forego a lot of body work and stuff. So not a whole lot going on in here. The cat's holding the car down. What are you doing up there, boy? What are you doing up there, huh? So anyway, I got some stuff scraped off the bottom of this, basically just doing some cleanup, and got a little bit of seam sealing and painting under here. You can see the green, you know, we got to make this gray. So we're going to do this gray under here, and the other side of this will get painted, and then this is going to get truck lined. You know, it's got some dents in here, you know, it doesn't look really good. It's not for me, it's from the last guy. This car came in, this was all undercoated, and you really don't see that with the undercoating on there. So we'll do some bed liner on that and spruce that up. I think we'll take the bed liner right about to here. So our seal surface is painted and still nice. And we'll go right to about here with the bed liner from here down. So we're going to do the wheel openings or wheel wells, and then a little more paint work. I haven't really had a chance to get up here and prep the firewall or any of that stuff yet. So yeah, that's where we're at on this project. Had to do a little wipe on the front of the bus there. Had some stuff coming through. There's a little Bondo on the front of this, but most of that's under the bumper. I think I'll be okay with it. Give it a little wipe, get that sanded down and some primer on that. And hopefully we can get some paint on this thing finally. I found somebody that wants to buy the bus, so I might sell the bus. I don't know, I've been sort of not working on it, you know, from lack of funds. I don't have the money to finish it. So rather than have stuff sitting in my garage that I can't finish, I figured I'll pass it on to people that have the money to do so. So I had a little issue with this door here and some rust under the epoxy primer, so I had to strip it back up. It stopped right in here, so I don't know what happened there, but we'll get that re-etched and epoxy primered. And yeah, this one didn't have any etch primer on it, it was just epoxied. This bus was done when I was in really bad shape. Andrea said I had no business even working on this. So the more I work on it, the more treats I find. So yeah, so that's where we're at on that. The race car's just been sitting. Next week is the Lakeland race. I'm gonna go check that out. I don't think we'll be racing in that one. We're gonna go check Noel's car out, and some of the guys from RNS, you know, that are gonna go to that race, maybe help them out and hang out with them. And I can do more camera in that way. You know, it's hard to get camera action when you're running the car. So anyway, there we go. I did have a friend that bought one of these cases, and apparently the deck was raised. What is it, 3 millimeters, 4? I don't know. It's quite a bit. He had 300 thousandths cut off of it, and he's having some issues with his case. So I know they make that one, they make this one, and then they make a stock replacement case also that's not solid back here. But from what I understand, they announced that the mag cases will no longer be available. So that's never a good thing. So if you got a Volkswagen mag case and it's new, you know, the price just went up. Don't let it go for cheap. And if you can get your hands on them, buy them now, because usually when they discontinue something or announce that it's no longer going to be available, that means the price is fixing to get high. So these are those SEMA pistons that have been in the cabinet for a few years there. These are the new old stock, I guess. Sort of a nice piston there, sort of a low profile, small piston, coated. I got the pin moved up to the oil ring there for the extra stroke. And we're running a 90.5 on this motor, 2110. So we got plenty of cylinder thickness here, and the idea behind that is so the cylinders don't distort, and you know, this motor stays in good condition for a while. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this runs. Scooter was trying to talk me into the stock cam thing with the low compression, the wedge 40 heads there, and I want to, you know, make sure that it's a little quicker. So I figure doing it this way, the only thing, if it's a dog, all I have to do is pull the 300,000 spacers out from underneath it. I don't have to redesign the motor a whole lot. That'll put me back, you know, I can get in the 10-to-1 compression range by pulling those out. And fly cutting the heads a little bit, so my basic combination will stay good. And if I want to adjust the compression a little racier, I can just pull some spacer out. But I want to be able to drive it. I don't want to worry about heating up and having issues. I already fighting a battle with the aluminum case. You know, they retain more heat because they're much thicker. So yeah, so that's what we're doing. And these are the rockers we're going to use. We're going to use the Berg rockers on there. These are the 1.5s or 1.6s. I'm not sure. We'll have to put them on there and check that out. Little note to self. These rocker arms, these are the high lift rockers that I bought for Greg Porter's car, and I ended up putting my rockers on his car because I got tired of dicking with these. They kept giving me problems. I have all the adjusters out of these. The swivel feet adjusters they're a swivel foot type, you know, it's got a little swivel and a little pad on the end of it. Well, if you guys remember the problem, the thing that happened that led me to take the rockers out of my stash and give them to Greg, were I bought some bug pack adjusters and they broke on the first run in. Broke one of the adjusters and the metal looked really crappy. So I just chose to use my old Berg ones on there and let them go, and didn't think much about it. I did mention it to Scooter. Scooter chewed my ass, you know, for using my parts on other people's stuff. But he was on the phone with Gene, or not Gene, but Gene Berg there. He was making an order, and he asked him about some swivel feet adjusters because he was sort of concerned with the quality of the bug pack ones. You know, he didn't want to buy $70 worth of adjusters and have them break again. So he ordered 2 sets from Berg. They do have them available. They actually used the adjuster out of a 911 Porsche. It's got the swivel based on it, and it fits this rocker shaft perfect, the rocker arm. However, he ordered 2 sets, not even asking the price. And when they came in, they're $160 for just the adjusters, for 8 adjusters. So we made a few phone calls, and our parts store could get them for I think $28 a piece from Porsche. So you know, the $160 isn't that bad of a price, but they are quite pricey if you want the dependability. You know, the bug pack ones and the scat ones have been breaking. So there's nothing worse than breaking one of these adjusters. It'll cause you all kinds of havoc. So this is actually a high lift adjuster. You know, it's made to go down here, and it moves the high lift moves the adjuster to the other end of the rocker. So it's a little different setup. But on these solid shaft rockers where you're using the swivel feet to get a little more geometry correction and, you know, a little dependability, Berg does have them, but they are $160 for just the adjusters. So, and I did find out that they are factory from the 911 Porsche. So if you have a source on that, then that would be the way to get them, you know. Or if you have some of those motors laying around, you can steal the adjusters out of. So yeah, so that's what's happening. I'm gonna go ahead and shut this off. I'm rambling on. I don't have a transmission to rebuild, or I could bore you with some of that. But yeah, so I'm still in the holding pattern on the tranny. Just been trying to make some headway on this motor. I've had these parts for quite a while now, and stuff's not getting any cheaper, so I figured I'd go ahead and put it together and have some fun with it, put it up for sale or whatever. I am going to probably sell the 1600 in the blue car here, so if anybody's interested in that, send me a little personal message. You can come drive the car, check the motor out, see if you like it. I got the Cadrons on there. It's all complete with the Cadrons, the exhaust system, everything. It's 1600 ported heads, SEMA piston cylinders, decent exhaust system, AS21 case, really decent motor, runs really well. So if you're interested, you're around here, you want to come drive the car and check it out, we'll talk about a price if you're interested, with the carburetors or without. Did have a clutch cable break on me the other day. That was a bummer. I let one of the YouTubers that came over driving my car a couple weeks ago, and when he went to back up, it was really chattered really bad. Usually that means the preload tube's going bad. So I really didn't pay much attention to it, and I was driving the car the other day with Holly and the cable broke, and when I took it all apart, the cable had started to, the preload tube had popped off of the factory location in the back there, and it started cutting itself in half with the brake cable, and it ended up fraying the cable right there and breaking. So I fixed that, got that going really good. We will have to dig a tranny out for this. I do have that 72 double side plate tranny over there. We'll weld a gusset on that. We'll buy a first and second gear shaft, a third gear and a fourth gear welded, and we'll build a tranny for that. So when we put this motor in the car, we'll be able to put the power to the ground and use it. You know, stock transmission doesn't have the right gear spread, you know, so we'll use the first and second gear shaft that is a little closer, and the third gear will be a little closer, and fourth gear will be a little closer. So it'll be a close box instead of a long box like it is now. Make it a little zippier. But yeah, so let me shut this off. We'll try to turn it back on tomorrow. I know Andrea made a video I'm going to be putting up. She wants to do another YouTube party, so I'm not going to cook this year. So if you guys want to eat some barbecue or something, you'll have to come early, and we'll just do a little barbecue over here for a couple guys. But I'm not going to be making the barbecue for 100 people again. It was just it was too much, you know. I would have liked to got to spend more time with some of you guys, you know. I didn't get to see a lot of people that traveled all the way to come down here because we were here cooking, you know, and you know, getting the food ready, bringing it over that morning, and it's just it's a lot of work. It's not that I was disappointed with the party. It was just that I'd like to spend a little more time with the people that make the trip down. So Andrea did a video. I haven't watched it yet. I have to upload it for her, and she's gonna do the party announcement for next year, and then also we're gonna do t-shirts again, because there's a couple guys that have been asking about shirts, and I'd like to apologize to Big Paul's garage, or Big J's garage. I mean, he didn't get his shirts. He ordered shirts and they got lost in the mail. He was the one guy that got the bone, so I really apologize. Tried to refund his money a couple times, and he just he wants a shirt. He doesn't want the money, and we'll get your shirts, buddy. I apologize for the delay, and the guys that have bought paint last week, I really appreciate the orders. I appreciate that. Every little bit helps. I've told you guys, not always the cheapest guy out there, but we try to make it up with the service. Want to apologize to Tom's Wonderful World there. I sold him some yellow paint, and did not match very well. Matched one side of the car, but not the other. And that job would have been a little easier if it would have been tinted for him. And just he had some issues with the AG40 clear with the high humidity, which I have noticed that it is sensitive to high humidity. And the other thing that the AG40 is somewhat sensitive to is accelerator. Doesn't like to be accelerated. I find if you accelerate it and come back the next day, sometimes it's still wet in the cup. So it's definitely not speeding the drying process up in the AG40. Doesn't do that in the Silver Sail, the 52 or the 30. The accelerator works, but accelerator can go bad too. The cap's not on tight, and your hardeners can start going bad if they get a lot of air to them, and the moisture is more than likely the culprit. You know, moisture is hard to deal with paint. So, but Tom usually has really good luck, so hopefully he'll won't get a bad taste in his mouth over that. He'll move on to the next one, and we'll make up for it. But anyway, that's what's going on. Thanks again for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for the subs. And all that good stuff. Some really cool videos out there lately. And yeah, so I'll try to turn the camera on tomorrow when Johnny and Ronnie are here. You guys have a great night. Let me go ahead and shut this down. 21-minute vlog there. That should give some of you diehards something to listen to. And yeah, so Terry, gonna box your motor up tomorrow. I'll call you with a weight. We'll get that shipped out Monday to you. This motor here is going to be going to WTBM Terry 123. So there you go. I'm going to leave the broken pulley on there. I figured I'll just bolt it to a piece of wood and build a box around it and put a handle on it and ship it. So there we go. Anybody heading up north from Florida that could take that motor for us, you know, save us some shipping, leave a PM. The other option I was going to get Andrea to check was the Greyhound bus, because somebody told me that it's much cheaper to send stuff on